What is up, people? Nathan Robinson from Canadian Dose of Spurs here, back with another video. And in today's video, we are going to be breaking down the top 5 statement signings that Spurs could be looking to make in the attacking positions. So I will only be discussing the signings that we have been linked to concretely and officially, and it's not going to be anything unrealistic. It's going to be very realistic. And I will be ranking them in terms of the large scale of the signings, so statement signings, the impact that they could have on Spurs, how they're going to fit into the system, how they would fit under Thomas Frank, and just the overall need for them as a whole, and also I guess just my personal like or opinion on them as a whole. So before we get into the video, I just want to say thank you guys so much, man. Honestly, thank you. The channel is doing so good and you guys are absolutely killing it. My video that I did breaking down Thomas Frank's tactics is doing so well, so thank you guys so freaking much, man. So make sure to keep liking and subscribing. Let me know how I'm doing in the comments, man. Like, I'm trying to do my best that I can, and I'm just trying to deliver the best content that I can for you guys. So just let me know how I'm doing, and make sure to drop a like and a subscribe if you enjoy what I do. So yeah, let's get right into the video. And first of all, I just want to start by saying I am not a tactical person. Like I said, I'm not a big tactical. I'm not a tactical YouTuber, none of that. I just love making Spurs content. I'm going to be giving my most based and objective takes on what I could see these signings doing for Spurs and the overall impact and scale of them as a whole. So like I said, I'm not a tactical person, but I did put a lot of research and thought into these signings and how they would work under Thomas Frank, as well as how Thomas Frank's tactics actually work. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. So starting with number 5 on the right wing position, we're going to start off with Antoine Semeno. So the Bournemouth forward is a very low-key, high-ceiling move that screams smart recruitment from Spurs. And of course, under Thomas Frank, pressing from the front is a non-negotiable. And Semeno's relentless engine, physicality, and very vertical fit that would fit Spurs perfectly. He's a constant menace, always running in behind and always harassing defenders. He likes to dribble, he likes to cut inside, go outside. He loves that left foot shot. He loves it all. He would be a very good threat on the wing for Spurs under Thomas Frank's system. Now, Frank loves wide forwards who double up as distributors. Think Ezeman at Brentford, for example. Semeno gives you that profile, but with the upside of being more explosive, and he can rotate across the entire front line. I think he plays strike a little bit too, if I'm not mistaken, so he's definitely an option that we could have there as well. So of course, he gives that good competition for Johnson as well. He can challenge Tell as well, and if there ever is an injury on either side, he can fill in on both. But the main thing that we'd be looking to sign Semeno for is his intensity and his relentless aggressing and pressing, as well as his ability to take on the fullback at a consistent basis. Now, the only thing with that being said is that for the price that Semeno is linked at, I think the price gets a little bit hairy. Bournemouth are looking for 70 million euros for him, and that is a lot for a player like him. Don't get me wrong, I think he's at the perfect age range that we need. I think he has a lot of potential, but in my opinion, he's like that class below the top wingers in the Premier League. I think he still has a long way to go in terms of development. So with that being said, I think he'd be a very big signing for Spurs, but I don't think it moves the needle enough for me. I think he's one of those guys where it's going to take another season or so for him to really be a statement winger in the league. So I don't think he moves the needle enough for us. And he's still a little bit raw in terms of how much he decides to take on his fullbacks, how much he decides to cut inside. He's still a little bit raw in that sense. So he's going to take a little minute to actually get coached probably to be as effective as he can. Compared to someone like Mbeumo, where Mbeumo was just ruthless and clinical. Mbeumo doesn't take on his fullback every 2 minutes. Semeno kind of does that. Mbeumo is a lot more, I guess, picky when it comes to him taking on his fullback. Whereas Semeno, he's always taken on his fullback on a consistent basis. It needs to be more efficient in terms of when he decides to do that. So just having a look at how tactically Semeno could work under Spurs, looking at a 4-2-3-1 setup, of course you'd have a front line of Tell, LAKEY, Madison, and then Semeno. So of course you'd put Semeno on the right wing. Like I said, he could fill on the left if you wanted him to, but of course with Tell there, I don't think we need him to be there. So what Semeno would be looking to do here is essentially, I think Semeno would play almost like the either holding the width role or the cutting inside role. Because the one thing with Thomas Frank's wingers, he doesn't like both of them to always cut inside. He wants one of them to almost hold width so that that fullback can run inside, make that inside run. So when it comes to Semeno, I think he'd be looking to do that role. You could also have him cut him inside, but I think Frank likes Tell a lot. And he's going to want Tell to come inside with that decent shot that he has. But either way, either one could work. You could have Tell coming inside, making that run inside, having off the shot like that. Or you could have Semeno cutting inside, doing the exact same thing, cutting on from the right, having that shot in, curling it in. Either one can kind of do that role, but I think Semeno would be good just for that. Because Semeno is a better dribbler than Tell, I think, in my opinion. He's a lot more ruthless. I think you could have him holding that width role where he's almost scrambling past the fullback, just trying to figure out, like, keeping them guessing if he can go outside. He can go outside. He can go inside as well if he wants to. And then you'd have Tell being the inside forward and making those inside runs. And then you'd have Poro overlapping if need be, get across and if he wants to, into Tell or Solanke if need be. So yeah, that's kind of how Semeno could work under Thomas Frank in the system. Next up at number 4, we have Mohamed Cudes. Now, I love Cudes a lot. He is a monster talent. He is a crazy dribbler. He's strong, he's aggressive, he's fearless, and he's full of flair. Very good dribbler, and he just adds a lot of excitement into this team. But that being said, with a Thomas Frank-led Spurs team, his fit might take a little bit of time to adjust to. Now, Cudes thrives in a chaos-based team. So he's ball-dominant creator who loves to dribble and shoot and improvise as well. So he does press and he isn't lazy off the ball, but he's a little bit less structured when it comes to that. Now with Frank, he typically demands a lot of high-intensity press persistent players, and he's very calculated in terms of the way that he presses as well. So Cudes could probably do that, but it's going to take some time. And then another thing is that Cudes kind of plays more of a 10. He could play the wide playmaker, that is a possibility, but I think long term he wants to be a 10. I think overall his best games is when he's in the 10. And another thing about Cudes is that he loves to hog the ball. There is times where he holds onto the ball for way too long. And this could be a good thing, but I think with under Thomas Frank and the way he wants his team to play, in terms of like being a very team player and not being individualistic, I think that might cause a little bit of headaches. They're going to have to coach that out of him. But I think overall, Cudes would be an amazing attacking option to have, but the need for him isn't that high as we have a whole bunch of 10s within the system. At the same time, though, you could play him off the right, and I think if you play him off the right, have him as an inside forward, then that's where we could be talking. So let's get right into that. So yeah, as I was saying, you could play Cudes off the right and have him as a more wide playmaker slash inside forward. So obviously he'd be like a right winger, but his main priority would be to come inside. You could have him and Madison kind of alternating, creating that chaos, which I would really like. Like if you have, obviously you could starting off at the right and then Madison as the 10, and you just have Cudes coming inside. You have Madison going out to the right once in a while, just creating a little bit of chaos, or you have them like both kind of here. Maybe you have Bergvall running out here a little bit, or you have Poro bombing up, almost acting at the right winger, and then you have options in the box, which Thomas Frank loves to do with those crosses. If you watch his tactical breakdowns in terms of crosses, he loves this against low block. And I think this type of team would be amazing against the low block, where you'd have Poro just being able to spam. Look at all these targets. You have Cudes, Solanke, Madison, Tell, all for those headers coming in, man. Like this would be amazing to see. So, but like I said, you could almost have Cudes as like the inside forward as like a second 10, and you have these just absolute chaos. You have Cudes being able to feed balls into Madison, making that run, Tell making that run, and then you also have, like I said, Cudes being able to drift inside. He loves to cut inside. So the thing is that this would almost isolate Tell to that wide forward role, and that'd have you Dougie making the run inside instead of the Poro making the run inside as the inside vertical overlapping fullback, So it's definitely something you have to look at. Like I said, the fit isn't 100% there, but if the goal is to play him as a right winger, you could definitely get a lot out of him there for sure. And then with Madison and Kulusevski's injury record, bro, you play Cudes as the 10, you take Madison out, put a Johnson there, Cudes in there, and then Cudes just has a whole bunch of fun. He can carry the ball from deep. He can spread the ball out. He loves to carry it. It would be beautiful, man. So that's what we're looking at with Mohamed Cudes. At number 3, we have Eberechi Eze. Man, this is one that no matter what happens in the window, I just got to see him come in, man. I love Eze. Y'all know I love Eze. I've been talking about Eze for so freaking long. I think we all have to be honest. He would bring box office to Spurs. He'd be so entertaining, flair, elegance. He just feels like a Spurs player. Now, with that being said, he would be perfect for Spurs in terms of the number 10, but like I said, similar to Cudes, we have a bunch of players in that 10 already. You have Madison, you have Kulusevski, Bergvall can play there. Like, there's not a need for that number 10. However, I didn't even talk about this with Mohamed Cudes either. I think Frank might look to potentially play Kulusevski off the right or the left as an inside forward there too. So that would open up a spot for a number 10, which you can put Eze in there. Or on top of that, you also have the injury record of the two players of Madison and Kulusevski too. So either way, we should probably be signing another 10 just based off the injury record alone. But with Eze, he obviously loves to drift inside. He can play him on the left side. That's another thing. He can play him on the left. He can drift inside, cut inside, be the inside forward there too. So he's very versatile, can play across the left or the middle. And I think we'd get a lot out of him in terms of fit. And overall, man, we all just love Eze, man. We really do. This one's more just of a, I love Eze, so let's just put him in here type of thing. But the difficult thing with this Eze deal is that it's his release clause. He has a 60 million euro release clause that has to be paid pretty much all up front with an $8 million bonus. So that makes it very tricky for Spurs to actually do a deal for him. So if we have a look of how Eze could look under Thomas Frank for Spurs, like I said, I think you could probably deploy him as a left winger, being more so as like the wide playmaker, similar to Cudes, but just on the left, and you have him drifting inside. Of course, I would push Tell out of the team, unfortunately. But I mean, when you're getting a player of Eze's quality, this is a statement signing. This type of signing pushes the needle very far, and I would absolutely love this at Spurs. So pretty much you would have here is that you have Eze drifting inside, similar to Cudes. You could have Madison almost switching spots with him, you know, just alternating, creating some chaos. Eze drifting inside, going in for that cut-in shot. They love to that curl-in shot, and you know he would bag a bunch of goals from that cut-in inside, from that dribble, cut inside, shoot that ball, curve it into the net. He would kill from the roll. You know he would. But at the same time, the only thing with this is that if you're going to play Eze on the left wing, you cannot have him hug the touchline. As I was saying, for Frank, he kind of wants one of his wingers to essentially not hug the touchline, but be more so of the sacrifice, I'll say, and then the fullback comes inside on the inside channel. But with this, you can't have Eze doing that because it just wastes his talents completely. So you're going to have Eze cutting inside, being the inside forward, and then Johnson being the sacrifice, which he could honestly do because we know Johnson again, ole with the back post happen. So I think it'd be completely fine for him to be going on the outside, hugging the touchline, just making those back end runs. So I don't think that's a problem. Or what you can do, obviously, of course, take out Madison, put in a Tell, and then have Eze cook as well. Similar to Cudes, Eze would do just fine in this role. The only thing is that Eze's goals and assists haven't been, I guess, as high as you would have liked them to compared to like a player like James Madison. But I feel like that could be just due to the quality of a Crystal Palace team. I think under Spurs, that would probably go up a little bit. But towards the latter half of last season, he did improve on that. So I'm honestly not worried about that. Eze needs to happen. Get him in. He's quality. Let's keep it moving. At number 2, we have Bryan Mbeumo. Listen, it's the easiest one that you can slot in. He's played under Thomas Frank before. He's prem proven. His goals and assists are just absolutely mad. Like, it's insane. And yeah, the big thing is that he's played under Thomas Frank before, so he understands the system. Frank knows the player. There's no adjusting phase. He just slots right in right away, and he makes the team way better. There's nothing to worry about with him. I don't worry about his goals. I don't worry about his assists. He'll be fine. He'll be perfect under Frank because he's played with him before. Now, with that being said, the only problem with Bryan Mbeumo is that he has pretty much said yes to United already. Like, he wants United. He only wants Manchester United. It's really, that's what it comes down to. So there is a report out there saying that he's not entirely sold on United. Like, he's open to coming to Spurs now that Frank is there. But I don't think that's true. I think he only wants United, and I think that's what he's looking towards doing. So that's the shitty thing about Mbeumo. But with that being said, let's just assume he doesn't go to United, because who would want to do that? You know what I mean? Like, let's not even get into that. We own them. But but for real though, like, if he comes to Spurs, he just slots him right away, and it's a perfect, simple fit. So let's get right into it to look like exactly what and how it could work at Spurs. So yeah, as I was saying, with Mbeumo, it's one of the easiest that you can easily slot in. Like, there's no, like, you just put him at right wing. Simple. He's good. He's good to go. Would be a statement signing, about 60 million, 65 million euros. Nothing too crazy. We paid that much for Solanke, so I don't see why we can't do this. It just depends on the player. But yeah, he's played under Frank before. You know what he wants to do. Come inside, cut inside, take that shot. Good left foot. Simple. That's what Mbeumo wants to do. You would have Tell almost doing the same thing, or you'd have him going on the outside, allow you to make those runs in, and you have the through balls through there. Whatever you want to do. You could have both of them coming inside. You could think Tell is more like the Sade under Thomas Frank, where Sade improved a lot, and I think he's going to get the same thing out of Tell. But this is a video about Tell. This is a video about our wingers and our potential signings. So, but yeah, you know what Mbeumo likes to do. I think with Mbeumo, you're gonna get his goal contribution to not, I don't want to say double because that's kind of crazy because he had like what 20 goals last season, but it'll stay about the same, probably, or get like a little bit more because we have more quality than a Brentford. And with Mbeumo, it's the easiest that you can slot in. He's gonna bag goals, and I just think of like a front line of Tal, Slanky, and Mbeumo. That's quality, man. That's good quality. That is very good quality. So the only thing is that he's not versatile. So he's only gonna be able to play the right wing, whereas with Cudes, with Eze, and with Semeno can play left or right, or even the striker. Cudes can play in the middle or the right wing, and Eze can play the left or the middle as well. So with Mbeumo, it's just the right winger. But overall, man, this is the big signing that I think we all are looking towards getting done because he'd just be a perfect instant fit. Now, finally, for the number one signing that we could make that would send an absolute statement and shockwave across the entire football world is none other than Xavi Simons. Brother, this rudder right here is a player that you break the bank for, my guy. You get this one done because an opportunity like this does not come along very often. I'm so tired of seeing this team constantly just be sign mid players, not get that extra level player. When a player like Xavi comes along, bro, you break that bank, bro. This guy would bring obviously the most insane technical ability, incredibly intelligent, tactically flexible, and under Thomas Frank, he could operate as either an advanced 8 and a midfield 3 and a wide 4-4-3, or the wide 4-3-3, sorry, drifting inside, dictate play, whatever you want him to do, bro. He can do almost anything across the attacking line in terms of the winger positions and the number 10. So when he gets the ball, it's absolute magic, bro. He can break a line with one pass or carry, but he also has the ability to unleash a unselfish and deadly pass or shot. Simons is a player that I would love to see at Spurs, but this one seems like a little bit unattainable just because of one reason and one reason only. Daniel Levy. Brother, Daniel Levy, bro. Any other operator or owner in this position makes this purchase. The opportunity is there. I'm not sure how much he's going to cost. I'm seeing numbers of 70 million. But bro, when a player like Xavi comes along, you need to break that bank, man. You need to just do it. He'd elevate Tottenham's tempo up, and he'd be able to help them control games in a way better meter compared to what we've had last season. And he also brings the European experience. At a young age, he'd be a long-term centerpiece, of course, and he's played Champions League before. He's just super experienced already for his age, and he's going to be there for the long term. This is a player they're going to be looking at in a couple years' time and be like, wow, he is a freaking star. So even though he's not in terms of like a need for the number 10 position, because I think that's where he's going to play long term, I think overall, when a player like this comes around, you don't pass up the chance. You just don't. So with this, I decided to put Simons on the left just because I said he could play across pretty much the left, right, or the middle. So you could put him on the left. I think long term he wants to be a 10. I think he definitely does. So you have a Tell here and you have a Simons there. But like I said, the good thing about this is that we have the versatility. That's huge. So if Madison picks up an injury, all right, bye Madison, come on Simons, and then you have Tell coming in here just like that. And then you have Simons, and the number 10 would absolutely cook. He can do it all, man. He can carry with the ball. He can pick out a pass. He can do the through ball. He can do it all. And he has a really good shot on him as well. So with Simons, he's one of those guys like where if you sign him to be like the left winger, bro, he does that. He can do that. He can even play on the right too if he really wants to, but it's primarily the left winger signing that he'd be looking at him for. But it's the same thing, man. He can go inside, he can go outside, but he's going to want to cut inside. He's definitely going to want to cut inside. And that's a very big pattern that we're seeing with a lot of these players that we're looking at, is that they all really love to cut inside and have that shot off, which is exactly what we need for a Thomas Frank system. And of course, Simons also comes with like a little bit of flair, a little bit of dribbling ability as well. And overall, man, I just love Simons at Spurs, man. This is a dream one. Will it happen? It's a pipe dream for sure. But I think overall, if you want to make a statement, if you want to have an impact signing, Simons is the guy that you look at for that opportunity. So that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Who would you want to see at Spurs out of all these 5 names that I listed off? For me personally, I just always love Eze. Eze's my guy, man. But for sure, if I'm thinking like taking the emotion out of it and thinking tactically and technically, it's Simons, man. He is such quality. I also wouldn't hate Cudes either, and of course Mbeumo makes a lot of sense too. All these would be good, to be honest. Semeno wouldn't move me as far, but Semeno would still be a good option. But that's a typical Spurs signing. He's not that like A-level player, he's more of that B-level player. That's what we typically do, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get a Semeno. But for me, man, any one of Cudes as a Simons, brother, we're good, we're here. I'm so happy. So, or Mbeumo too, but that's probably not gonna happen. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, and of course, make sure to like and subscribe for more content. You guys have been absolutely killing it, man, so I can't thank you enough for all the support. I'm reading all your comments, I'm replying, and it means so much to me, guys, so thank you so much. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out.